All right, so y'all know what we do right about this time. You can turn mine down a little bit if you want. Sucker shit.
Now y'all extra technical. It must be. Deep offensive episodes turn me up and down in the headphones.
Turn me up in my headphones, son.
Now you that dude. So
Turn me up in my headphones, son.
So I was thinking, and this one, I'm gonna dedicate to your lovely wife. Okay, because we was talking about it.
We do have a wager.
Yeah. I don't often do relationship counseling. You know, that's one of the things that you guys do together. But I have a theory. The problem with many relationships, if no arrests have been made. Okay? Let me say that again. The problem in many of y'all relationships is that no arrests have been made. I'm gonna tell you a story. I was telling my son when me and his mom were together. Okay, we living in West LA. This one morning, get a knock at the door. Okay, it's the LAPD. Right, Mr. Towns live here? Yes, it's me. You go by JT? Yes, I do, officer. He said, you need to come down to the station for questioning. I said, any charges? He says, well, the neighbor said it was assault committed on your behalf. And I said, what are you talking about? I ain't touched nobody. He says, no, with all the noise that was going on in this apartment, we know you beat the puss up last night. I said, you don't have to ask no questions. You can just take me away. Where the cuffs at? See, that's the problem with a lot of y'all dudes in y'all relationship. Y'all short stroking. If you have not committed assault on your woman's hips, that's why she upset with you. That's why she cranky. Okay? Wow. So some arrests need to be made. I got multiple felonies on my record. Okay?
Call me Peter.
So you clean arrest record niggas, you on some sucker shit.
Peter the boom boom beater.
Hey, welcome back to Skinny Black's Lounge. I am the moderator here, Rob, aka Skinny Black, and to my left,
Rennie.
Yep, and to his left,
JT, period of silent. Hi, Mom.
And as always, we have our special guest to his left,
Lebo,
my man. All right, man. Hey, hey, welcome back, and we're here in the spot, and we got a couple of exciting topics that we want y'all to dive into. Again, as you hear the topics, please comment, share. I hope it sparks some conversation between you and your peoples. So yeah, hit us in the comments, and what we do, we'll look at the comments. We might even do a part 2 or whatever, y'all commenting on. So here we go. So let's get started. Got a couple of 2-3 good topics today. We're gonna start out with the topic of fear. So before we get into it, I want to read the definition. Fear, noun, a distressing emotion aroused by impending danger, evil, pain, etc. Whether the threat is real or imagined, the feeling or condition of being afraid. 2, a specific instance or propensity for such a feeling. Verb, to regard with fear, to be afraid of, to have reverential awe of, to have fear, to be afraid, to feel apprehensive or uneasy. So that's the definition. So just want to drop this in here, a couple of questions. What role does fear play in your lives? In what ways have you recognized, been affected, or overcome fear? And in what ways or how do you embrace fear now?
It's a lot.
Pick one. Dive in.
Okay. I think fear is evolved.
The dictionary with the longest words for a definition. How you have a definition 37 letters for a 4-letter word? But go ahead.
Apprehensive, reverential, propensity.
Yeah, I was like,
Oh man.
Hey, you got to use a dictionary to figure out what
What the word was. Like, oh man, you sent me down a rabbit hole for a 4-letter word. You know? And you went deeper on fear than we can go with love. That's what's wild.
Yeah.
I think fear, for me, evolved because you have your fear of these unknowns, and you're younger, and it's the not knowing portion of it that creates the fear. And the odd thing about that is, what religion does is, religion tells you to not fear something, but usually you're fearing what's unknown, and they tell you to not fear the unknown with an even greater unproven unknown. Hey man, you got the Lord, you have God,
But they also tell you should fear him more.
exactly.
Don't fear this, fear
Fear
this.
that, and exactly, it's that cycle. But it's not tangible. It's not anything you could put any eyes or see, and it's not physical for you. But yet you shouldn't fear it. So right from the very beginning, it's kind of contradictory because you're getting gaslit in a way with religion in that regard when it comes to fear. And then there's that aspect, that very physical aspect of being a child, and your parents debunking fear by physically showing you things like, turn this light on, look at this, there's nothing there. And so there's a very tangible aspect to facing fear. But also fear is the one thing that we give very little nuance to when explaining. It's the one emotion we say, oh man, don't be scared. Oh, okay. Shit, you said don't be scared. I guess I won't be scared anymore. Fear has zero little nuance to it. Little nuance. Like we're just like, oh, don't. And we're all been guilty of that in some aspect, specifically when it's not an easy explanation, So as you get older and you get these things that become known and you start to move beyond that. Now your fears evolve into things that kind of manifest maybe in like an anxiety. And so you start to fear change. You start to fear challenging yourself into spaces of discomfort. And so that's where most of my fear now as a man, manifests is attacking that discomfort, and then coupling fear is married with failure. And once I learned that failure was a part of the process, it made it easier for me to go at fear of things. Like, hey man, I failed a whole lot.
Yeah, hell yeah.
At this point, why are you tripping?
No, it's no just straight arc to success. It's full of failure.
Yeah.
When I think of fear, before I even say this, I'm glad you cleaned up that religion thing, because you was about to have a bunch of church ladies out protesting by your car. You gonna be white stockings, hats, and Epsom salt. But when I think of fear, I think of fire. And fire is not good or bad, it's a tool. Fire can, warm your house and cook your food, and it can burn your damn house down.
Yeah.
Fear is a necessary part of us. It is actually a gift to me.
It's an essential emotion.
But fear can also paralyze you. I've seen people get in situations, they get scared, and they are stuck. I mean, literally cannot move, right? And then I see other people embrace fear, because on the other side of it is some of your greatest successes. So it's a tool, right? And what we're taught in our society is so much stuff is black and white. It's good or bad. And if we say it's bad, don't you ever go behind the curtain, right? Well, usually behind that curtain is knowledge, right? And that's why they're telling you to stay away, because they don't want you to grow stronger. So embracing your fear, embracing the reasons behind why you have those fears, is probably will lead to some great success, No, I was dope, writing hard.
Back to what you were saying about embracing the fear, because it's a part of the gamut of emotions. And like we were saying earlier, it's the one with the least amount of nuance and understanding how much fear serves you in spaces. You hear something dangerous, you hear something that's suspicious, and you take off, and then you later on find out that was warranted. Fear serves you
Exactly.
in that purpose, and so you and not to go at religion, but we could think about the conflicting messages that it sends. Like there's a quote, there's a passage: "There's no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. For fear has to do with punishment, and whoever fears has not perfected
fear
in love.
But love casts out fear.
You know what I mean? And this is John chapter 4, verse 18.
If it's not there, there's nothing to cast out. Okay,
You know what I mean? And so we're indoctrinated into this. We're indoctrinated when we should be embracing it.
Yeah.
We should be embracing it and saying, okay, what is this? What is this that I'm feeling? Why am I fearing? And man, love is scary. What are you talking about? To make that endeavor?
Yeah.
That's how you identify the profundity of the love. Like, because I've never felt this vulnerable.
Yeah. Well, and see, when people hear love, they think it's just like these adult relationships. Think of it this way. Like I had a fear of not being a good father. I didn't have a good relationship with my father. No judgment on him, but we just didn't have a good relationship. I rarely saw him, and he's passed on now. So when I had my oldest, my son, man, a bunch of fear hit me, the day after he was born, and a lot of brothers get in that situation and they are paralyzed. And what we don't do is we don't get to understand each other, right? We don't say, okay, this is his background. He didn't have a relationship with his father didn't have a relationship with his father. He has no blueprint, he has no roadmap. But all we know is good or bad. So bad, deadbeat dad, boom, he's out of there, right? He has no arms around him, he has no training, he has no love. I've seen women in other situations like, well, you gotta understand what she's been through, right? And I'm not excusing any behavior, okay? Because I'm an advocate of being a father to your children, right? I don't even hang out with dudes that don't take care of their families, right? But you have to have an understanding so you can bring people up, right? In my situation, it propelled me to be the best possible father I could be, but I've seen the flip side and I understand the emotion, because on that first day, when all those thoughts and my entire childhood and everything hit me, man, okay?
The weight?
And it's like, okay, now I got a life I'm responsible for, right? What's the blueprint for this? Right? So, I mean, like you said, fear is a necessity, but then you tied in what I said, it's a tool. How do you use it? Does it paralyze you or does it propel you?
Yeah, and so as we unpack and have this conversation, I'm curious as to how did you get to the point to where you embrace fear now? You had those aha moments about, oh, this shit is cool. Actually, it has use and it is a tool. How'd you get to that point?
I mean, it's the analysis of your emotions and what's happening to you in the space when it's happening, like what is going on, and then the process that you take to identify what your emotions are and then how those emotions are manifesting in your actions. So for instance, I spent years trying not to be my father, even though I was raised by great men. His absence triggered an analysis of everything that I did, because I'm of his image, I'm of his genetic code. And so that fear was guiding every single thing that I did. And then I had to really examine myself. And, you know, one of my friends was like, man, you're a good dude. And he's like, no, man, you're a good dude. Like, he had to just tell it to me in my face, like, yo. And then I had to have an understanding, like, man, I was so busy trying not to be this cat that I was never this dude. I was his son, but I was never him.
Yeah, one-on-one.
Yeah. I was never him. And that revelation brought on by my man Calvin, like, yo.
One of the powers that fear holds over us is that it has you concentrating on what you don't want to be, what you're not, instead of concentrating on what you are, what you can be, what your vision of yourself is. I had the same thing. I don't want to be like my father versus what kind of father do I want to be? Bingo. Right? But fear keeps you over here. I don't want to get hit. All right? I'm a boxer. I don't want to get hit. Instead of, I want to learn how to defend myself.
Yeah, so much of what we do is addition by subtraction.
So what fear will do if you don't confront it is it takes away all of your power. It puts you in a perpetual victimhood state. But if you challenge the fear and you embrace it, you will find your power. On the other side of that fear is the power, right? But we are conditioned to be afraid. We're also conditioned now to be eternal victims, right? If I ask you a question, what are we gonna do about this? And your response to me is, well, they said I couldn't do it. Well, we talking about me and you right now.
Right.
Well, what's they? There's always somebody behind some damn curtain over here that's stopping us from doing what we're supposed to do. Well, that's fear. And you give up your power in fear.
And it's that, don't be scared. Don't be scared. Like that state, don't be scared. You haven't given me any tools to not be scared.
That's a dumbass statement.
It is.
No, be scared.
Yes.
And then address it.
Exactly. Because until you confront the fear, you can't overcome it.
Right.
So there's nothing in the dark, until somebody holds your hand, pulls you over to it as a child and flicks the light on and said, man, there's nothing there. And then you go, oh, but who's triggering that light switch in your life other than yourself?
Yeah.
So you can't overcome it until you confront it. And if you've been told that you shouldn't fear it, how do you analyze it? How do you have an understanding of the nuance of fear? Because you've been conditioned constantly and told that you shouldn't be scared.